What up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 10 in my 13th annual 31 Days of Horror series, in which we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October, leading right up to Halloween. And continuing along with day number 10, I decided to revisit a film that I have not seen in quite a while, and that is Phantom of the Opera, the 1989 version. This is coming to us courtesy of Scream Factory. I picked this up so many years ago and it was still sealed, and I figured, you know what, it's been a little while since I've seen this. I recently watched Dario Argento's opera and reviewed it, actually, as well. You've probably seen that review. But I was like, man, you know, I like the opera setting. What other movies? And I was like, oh yeah, Phantom of the Opera from 89, the Robert Englund version. It's been a while since I've seen that. Let me check it out. So unsealed my Scream Factory here and popped it in and gave it a watch, and I was pleasantly not surprised, because I did like the movie, but I was pleased to see that it held up for me. So Phantom of the Opera, the 1989 version, was directed by Dwight H. Little, who I think did one of the Halloween, like the Halloween, was it 4 or 5? I think he did, or 6 maybe. I don't know. He did one of the Thorn trilogy Halloweens, I believe. He also did a couple of other things. I think he did some Freddy's Nightmares episodes and stuff like that. Also, it has special effects by Kevin Yeager. Okay, Dwight Little did Halloween 4. But Kevin Yeager did some of the effects. Obviously, we know Kevin Yeager pretty well in the effects world. And it also stars Jill Schoelen, as well as Molly Shannon. Jill Schoelen is, of course, known for her role in The Stepfather, Cutting Class, Popcorn, which is a really fun one. Jill Schoelen is awesome. I wish she had done more horror films. She is, like, just the best in terms of, like, Scream Queens, man. She's a little underrated, but she's a gem. I've actually met her a couple of years ago, and I kind of forgot, like, I knew she was in this movie, but I kind of forgot a little bit, and I didn't get a chance to talk to her about this movie, but I would have liked to talk to her about this movie, because I think it's a pretty interesting role for her. There's a lot of, like, range in there. But to get into the plot a little bit, oh, and it obviously stars Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger himself. It even has the tagline, Robert Englund was Freddy, now he's the Phantom of the Opera, an all-new nightmare. That's wild. So yeah, this one, Jill Schoelen is a operatic singer, and she and her friend find this half-done musical sheet that is, like, perfect for her audition that she has coming up for a starring role. And she goes to this audition and sings this sort of, like, hidden gem of a music piece. And during that, there is some sort of accident in the stage, and it transports her back in time to Victorian-era London, where she is basically an opera singer there as well. And there also happens to be a legend of a Phantom of the Opera, and she basically begins singing in this opera, and the Phantom becomes very infatuated with her and her voice, and begins to kill people around her to sort of elevate her career. First, he takes out this the diva of the opera, the lead in the opera, by basically making her lose her voice. But then he takes her out for real later. But yeah, she basically loses her voice and is unable to perform. So Jill Schoelen's character, Christine Day, is selected for the role, and then she gets some bad press by a crappy opera reviewer, and Robert Englund's character of the Phantom takes him out as well. She also has a love interest in, I think it's a detective or a cop or something like that. But she essentially is being wooed by the Phantom, who falls in love with her and loves her music, is her singing, and becomes like obsessed with her and a bit of a stalker, really. So the cool thing about this one too is Robert Englund's character of the Phantom is also highly disfigured, and this is the 80s, baby, so we are upping the gore. Probably the most gory Phantom movie that I've seen. Of course, we all know the Lon Chaney Sr. version. There's the Argento version that came out a few years, well, like almost a decade after this version. There's a bunch of versions of Phantom of the Opera. There's a Hammer version. There's another Universal version. Phantom of the Opera is like considered sort of a Universal monster as well. The Phantom, anyway. And the 80s are in full effect here because the gore is elevated. It's really like sort of a slasher film at its heart, but just with a lot of like opera and really good set design. There's scenes in the sewer. There's just a beautiful opera house. There's really good scenes in here. And Robert Englund's Phantom character has a really cool disfigured face that he sort of like uses sort of makeup and prosthetics to make look normal. But when he removes and applies this face, it looks really cool and gory, which is awesome. Also, I got to give this movie credit too, because you figure 1989, post, what do we have? Elm Street 4 and 5. I think 5 was 89. I think 5 was 89. Freddy is MTV Freddy by this point. Horror is comedic at this point. There's at least a lot more so. Like that's where the sort of like goofy horror was taking off. And this film is not really that, which it easily could have been, because obviously they're capitalizing on Freddy. There are like a few one-liners towards the end of the film where the mayhem ensues, but they really restrain themselves in making this a comedic or goofy film. Like, it's played pretty serious. Jill Schoelen is awesome in this role. I think this is like probably one of her best roles. She just has a lot to work with here, and like her voice is just amazing too. And also, like I said, I met her. She's super sweet in person too, and looks like the same. It's crazy. But yeah, I think, and then like the sort of like bookend New York setting, I really like too. It's kind of a different spin on like the Phantom story that kind of worked for me. What else can I say about Phantom of the Opera? It sort of has like that romantic element to it, but with some horror. I just really like this movie, man. Like, I think this is a little bit of an underrated gem of a popular, iconic actor that doesn't really get talked about much. But I think Phantom is a really, really good watch, man. I had a lot of fun revisiting this one. So yeah, that is. Let's do rating. Also, John Carl Buechler did some of the effects as well. I forgot about that. Of course, we know him from Friday the 13th Part 7. He directed that film. But yeah, he's done tons of effects. Everybody knows Buechler. Rest in peace. Rest in peace to John Carl. But yeah, what else? Pretty big budgeted, and it feels big budgeted anyway. And it has like really good set design and stuff like that. It feels like a bigger movie, but I'm pretty sure that it did not do well at the box office. I know I had read also that they were talking about doing a sequel a long while back. I bet this is a film Robert Englund loves. Like, I bet he loves to talk about this film because he got to do a lot of stuff. Like, he had a lot of range. He got to really play with the character. I think he did a fantastic job, and he's not just Freddy. He's a good actor. Even though this, they try to capitalize on Freddy, he's definitely very different. But yeah, let's go ahead. I came into this and was thinking I was going to give it a 7.5 out of 10, but after talking about it, I talked myself up a half point. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So that is Phantom of the Opera, 1989, courtesy of Scream Factory. If you've never seen it, definitely give it a watch because it is a little underrated in my opinion. So with that said, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.